Looking into the brightest side of life is a choice you will never regret.
The Bright Side, a Gold Digger Talk with Jaqueline Andrea.
I am Jaqueline Andrea. I am a professional photographer. My mom and dad call me Jackie. My sisters call me Awesome. No, I'm just kidding. No, they call me Chalks, Chalksies, Jackie. As a kid, I never saw the bad in the world. And I think now that I'm an adult, I still can see it. I always looked at the bright side of things. And I think I learned that because whenever I was younger, my mom, who is definitely somebody I look up to a lot, she taught me to always look into the good of things and specifically the good in people. And she always used to say, bueno, si no le estás viendo nada bueno, mira si tiene buena letra. So which that means is that if you really can't see the good in somebody, I mean, somebody that you don't agree with or anything, everything like that, she will say, at least maybe they have, I don't know, beautiful shoes or they have good handwriting. That's what she used to say. So I got used to the idea of definitely looking into the good of everything and everyone. My mom taught me to love myself, and my dad taught me to always be motivated and looking into opportunities. When I was younger, I went to school in Guatemala, obviously, but when I was younger, I remember having this really good friend. Her name is Lisa Salguero, saludos. I remember when we used to play, we used to tell ourselves, oh, we're gorgeous, we're gonna be famous, we're gonna have all this money, and we used to repeat that to ourselves. So I feel that somehow I got that out in the universe. I'm still looking into the millionaire part, but everything else, I feel that my self-confidence comes with not only with what my mother taught me, but also what I used to tell me every single day because of my friendships. When I was little, I was a troublemaker. Well, not that type of troublemaker. I was more the curious side of the troublemaking. My mom, my poor mom, or I don't know, Lucky maybe, she used to joke that she was going to just put a complaining office in school because it was one after another. One of my most horrible travesuras, which is like mischiefs, I think maybe not horrible because this is a story. So whenever I was in school, my school was El Campo Real. That one was a very strict school. Everyone there was very, very strict. And every September, actually we'll start in June, July, we will start marching, practicing marching because September is Independence Day, September 15. And we were supposed to go and march with everyone in the school. It was blocks and blocks of kids because there were a lot of kids in that school. So we used to go and march every single day, super early in the morning, and sometimes after school we needed to stay and practice. And I didn't like it. I really didn't like going out on march. To me, it was like, why would you do this? So that day I decided I was going to stay and ditch the marching practice. So one of my friends and I went to this bathroom that was blocked because there was something wrong with the bathroom, with the toilet, so they blocked it so nobody could use it. So we got into that stalemate, and whenever we heard the principal coming to look for us because they knew we were there, we were so nervous. We started trying to climb out and kick the toilet. All the water was all over the place. We got in so much trouble. And I think I spent a few days in front of the principal office. But the thing is that was normal for me. My older sister, she used to just get me food while I was standing up in front of the principal's office. but I think they were way too delicate. I have really good memories in school. I had the best school years ever. I did whatever I wanted. And yes, I got in trouble a lot, but I also had fun. And I feel that that's part of who I am now. Always having fun and doing whatever I want. Obviously, never broke rules to the point of where it was serious, serious trouble. It was just that type of stuff, teaching class or stuff like that. Not too long ago, I think it was about 2 years ago, one of my school teachers, when I was probably, what was that, in middle school will be here? Middle school, or maybe younger. Well, anyways, but one of my school teacher, music teacher, he found me on Facebook. He said, first of all, he didn't recognize me because I used to wear only a ponytail that I'll never put down. So my ponytail was actually embedded on my head. And he told me that I look different. And he also told me that it was very nice to see me, that I was good, that I was successful. And he said that he was very proud of me. And he also said, I have a confession. And his confession was that he said that when we were younger, there were a lot of kids that were very good students, right? And there were a lot of kids like me that were just average students, but very, very complicated. Or not complicated, that's a tough word. Like hard to handle, maybe. And he said that they made, ¿cómo se dice apuesta? Well, an apuesta, when you put money, a bet. It was a bet. And he said that most of the teachers made a list, all the teachers made a list of people that they thought they were going to be successful. And in the other side were the people that they thought they will never go anywhere. And there was a lot of my best friends were in this one. People are not going anywhere in life. And now that I look back, I don't want to talk in general, but a lot of the people that were very good students, they are not successful, or they were in jail, or they get in trouble a lot while they were older. And all of us that were the troublemakers, a lot of my friends, my best friends, graduated college with very, very high marks, and a lot of them are business owners, and or they have really good position in a company. So I feel that it's not really fair to judge the kid as a kid, because there's a lot of things that we come with, and whenever we bloom, we're gonna bloom in so many ways. Well, you know how much I like to dance. I've been a dancer since I think I was very little. I'm not a dancer as a dancer, a professional trained dancer. I always like to dance, and I do have something that I tell about. It's an experience I tell about, I talk a lot about, and it's when I got pretty much kicked out of my dance class. So, are you looking for a little taste of Mexico right here in Las Vegas? Then look no further than La Vecindad Pico de Gallo. Our cozy little neighborhood is full of family, art, and of course, delicious cuisine. Our recipes are made with love and authenticity, and our food and aguas frescas are made from scratch every single day. And if you mention the bright side, we'll even treat you to a fresh café de olla or a delicious frescarita. So come on down to La Vecindad Pico de Gallo, located at 953 East Sahara Avenue, Suite E27. We can't wait to share our little piece of Mexico with you. My mom, in order to keep me busy, she put me in everything she could, right? So I started theater in this company that was called Arte Studio Kodali. It was a very good theater company. I really enjoyed being there for probably 2 or 3 years or seasons. I don't know how they counted it. But there was one part of the experience where you needed to learn how to dance. So it was dance lessons during theater, right? So it was a very complete company. And I remember doing my best, enjoying everything about the dance classes, you know, the stretching, the pas de bourrée, or whatever they're called. And the teacher, Alina, that's her name, Alina, she came to me and said, Jackie, she said it in a very mean way, so I'm going to try to make it softer. She said, Jackie, I think you should consider doing something else because dance is not for you. You really don't know how to dance, and we were training for a long time and you still don't know how to dance. You can't catch the rhythm. So she said, I think you should consider something else. Well, first of all, I wasn't there because I was the best dancer. Obviously, I was there to learn. So I think it was a very not right way to approach it as a teacher. And I remember I was devastated. I was devastated after class. I went to my mom's. I went back home and I said, Mom, she told me this, and my mom was furious. She was like, no. My mom has always been about my mama bird, so she will definitely protect us from everything and everything. So I remember I was so frustrated, and my mom said one day, well, the vacation is coming, so you're gonna be able to teach us how to dance. How about that? And I'm like, I was going to be the dance instructor after I got kicked out of my dance classes. So my mom paid me like, I think it was like 25 cents per class or something like that. And I taught my mom and my sisters how to dance, but I never stopped. I kept dancing, and I love to dance. I think what you see in my Zumba classes is more not my dancing skills. It's my passion for what I do, the feeling, everything I feel inside. It's when I start the music, it's just that beautiful feeling inside of me, which is like fire, and it really is what you can see in my Zumba classes. I always had an entrepreneur heart, and I think that started at home. And it was because my mom and my dad always encourage us to do things that will bring some money and to appreciate money. And one of the businesses that my sisters and I had was that during vacation, we will go and collect rocks and we'll paint them and sell them. And they were very cheap, but they were not that good. They were not like artistic rocks. But with that money, what we did was put that money together, so at the end of the year we were able to collect enough money to go buy toys. So he was teaching us how to work, how to be entrepreneurs, how to sell, and how to save money too and invest it, because at that time it was an investment for us. A part of my body I don't like. Now I think I love myself, but I want to say a few years ago, I was very concerned about my stretch marks. I have 2 kids, so my stretch marks, I have very deep stretch marks. Some of those that they will never gonna go away unless you have a surgery. And I think because of the relationship I was in with my ex, he made it worse, because he used to say that the stretch marks were a mark of people. I don't even want to repeat it. You know, I erased it from my mind, but it was a very mean comment that it has nothing to do with having stretch marks or not. So it was because of my babies. I have 2 babies. I was a very small person with very tight skin, and my skin is not very stretchy, so that's what happened. But he used to put things in my mind, and I will believe it because that was the person I loved. So whenever I decided not to be with him anymore, that was a big game changer for me, because I started appreciating my stretch mark and knowing that being a mom, it's worth every single one of my stretch marks. My kids are my kryptonite. Whatever happens to them, it's like it's happening to me. And now that we have Mateo, which is my grandbaby, it's even worse. Like, I feel that it's personal when somebody talks about him or says anything bad about him. I take it very personal, and it's always been like that. I used to be a model back in the day. One day, there was this photographer, Alejandro Sandoval, which is a friend that I appreciate a lot. Alejandro came to this this place, and he asked my dad if he could take some pictures of me. My dad said, of course. So those photos were the very first professional photos that I got taken, and he loved them. My Alejandro, my friend, he loved them. He took them to a modeling agency, and they started calling me for commercials. I did runways. I did huge billboard campaigns with magazines, with marketing, advertising, everything. I did everything. But I think one of my favorite things to do was commercials. And one of my very first commercials that I did for a bank that I was called El Banco Metropolitano, the Metropolitano Bank. That was my very first opportunity I had to do a TV commercial, and it was one that marked me for a very long time. And with marked me, I mean it followed me because it was dancing. I don't remember what it said in the commercial. It's been too long. But at the end of the commercial, I will just show up my face and say "Tremendo." So that was such a loud TV commercial that they used to call me the Tremendo girl. So in school, everyone will sing the jingle and they will just kind of try to bug me, but to me, nothing ever bugs me. Another part of my body that you ask what part of my body I don't like. Another part of my body that it's not that I didn't like it, but that was very young, when I was very young. It's not that I didn't like it, it was more that I didn't care about it, and I was very, trying not to show, was my legs. I think it was because I was very, very, very skinny, so my legs were skinny as well. And they used to call me Lo que el viento se llevó, Popotitos. You know, esta canción que dice, the song that says, Popotitos no es un primor, pero baila que da pavor. But there's a part where it says that she has such skinny legs that it looks like she's gonna break. So I used to cover my legs, use pants most of the time. And one day in my modeling career, they called me for a casting that was for a pantyhose brand. So I went, but in my mind, I was like, oh, they're never gonna pick me. With these legs, they're so skinny. So long story short, they picked me. And that was definitely something that changed my mind about myself, because when I did that commercial, my legs looked so good. You know, they were looking for something that had somebody that had long legs, long skinny legs. Ta-da! I had the skinny legs. And also I did, and that's still, oh my God, I did a photo shoot for a shoe store that the first thing you see is my legs. So basically I'm just laying with a lot of, I don't know, it was like como una túnica, like a tunic, I don't remember it, but I'm just laying back, and it was a shoe store, so I'm showing the shoe, and my legs are it's the first thing you see, right? So that one is actually still in the stores. When I went a couple of times to Guatemala, you can still see those photos in those shoe stores. Isn't that neat? Being a model is really tough, because all they see is your outside. If you're beautiful outside, if you match the character they're looking for, or if you are the ideal person for their brand. So I wouldn't recommend anyone to be a model, to be honest. It was a really fun life for me, but at the same time, it wouldn't be tough if my self-esteem wasn't as good as it is. Because I remember one of the castings, or most of the castings, wherever you had to go and pretty much show up in maybe leggings and something very, very tight. They will have this people sitting on a table, and they will just ask the person to come around and walk or do stuff like that. And so they were judging you. They were seriously judging you to see if you were pretty enough for them or not. And the eyes, and sometimes they were like this, right? Very, very serious. And they're just gonna look at each other and they made faces. I kid you not, they made faces. So if I had my self-esteem to the floor, like a lot of girls do at that age, because I was 16, 17, which is a very tough age, I probably wouldn't survive. But thank goodness, because of my mother, I have a very, very, very strong self-esteem. If I would recommend somebody coming to the States, I will say I wouldn't encourage it. I think that's a tough one because there is so many things going in our countries that people here don't understand. People think, or people here take a lot of things for granted. And in our country, it's just really challenging. So if I said, yes, I will encourage it, I will be probably wrong because it depends on every situation. But all I have to say is that it's a very tough situation. So I wouldn't encourage it. I came to the States knowing English, according to my school. They will teach us English. We will have social studies, science, the dictation, conversation, writing, everything in English, all these subjects in English. So my base was very good. And my mom, she used to talk to us in English at home, and I will respond in Spanish. So my base and my ear, I thought in my mind that I will speak English, but surprise, whenever you're in the real world here, it's completely different. They talk so fast. So it was very hard for me to understand. I think I'm in a point where my level of English is definitely better. My husband is American, and he knows un poquito the español, which means nothing. And I think I forced myself to speak the language. And once we get to the point wherever you can make jokes in English and you can understand jokes in English, you're like, okay, this is another level of English, definitely. And then speaking of that, whenever I started teaching Zumba, one of the lines that I learned in order to stand up in front of the crowd and talk to my students was, hello, my name is Jackie. Welcome to Zumba. If it is your first time in class, please go ahead and do whatever you can do, and please modify. And that was it. That was it. So I still say those lines. If you go to my Zumba classes, I still say those lines. It's never. Zumba definitely saved my life. I started teaching in 2007, and I went through a very rough path in my life while I was already an instructor, and having to force myself out of bed to go teach my classes was what didn't let me fall probably in a deep depression. And knowing that I had to go out and smile and had something to do was definitely something that I needed. And I'll always be very grateful for the opportunity that this format brought me, not only to get out of this situation was very rough for me, but also because I get to meet a lot of people. I was teaching Zumba in an LVAC, Flamingo and Sand Hill, back in the day. And I used to have this very beautiful woman that came to my class every single Wednesday. That was my class there at that location. And she will bring people too. She will bring some of her friends, and we'll have a lot of fun in class. And one day she came to me and said, Jackie, one day you're going to be in a Vegas show. And I'm like, smile and said, oh, sure. I mean, yeah, I would love to. I'm open to the opportunity. Little did I know that she was a big magic show producer, and all these people that she was bringing to the class, they were auditioning me. So here I am just doing my thing. I love cheering people up in class. So I'm not your regular Zoom instructor. I'm actually a motivator, somebody that will make you smile with whatever I say. And they were auditioning me, dancing and everything, what I projected during my Zumba classes. So here I am, I get a call for an audition. And I went to the audition, and whenever I showed up, there was a lot of these beautiful dancers. You could tell they were dancers. And I was like, okay, I'm probably the only one here that is not an actual dancer. And somebody in front of us starts telling us what to do. So this is probably the trainer, the main instructor, or whatever you call it. And he starts saying, we're going to do a blah, 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 and then a blah, 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 blah. And then whenever you're done with that, you're going to finish with a blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's how it sounded to me anyways, because I knew nothing about dancing. I didn't know about the steps. I didn't know about the names. I didn't even know there was names for this. So everyone's like, okay, we got it. So everyone's getting ready to do it. And here I am, I'm completely lost. I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm all the way in the back. And then I had these dancers right here, and everything they'll do, I will copy. So monkey see, monkey do, right? And I auditioned, and I got the part, and I was in America's Got Talent, and I was in the V show. There were little parts, but I think because, I mean, it was not part of my dreams, but it was a great experience. I got to meet a lot of people, and I'm very thankful for that opportunity that this stranger pretty much gave me, because without me knowing that she was auditioning during a lot. I am the type of person that don't plan a lot. I just do it. And I think that is beautiful. For a long time. A very long time. And the story of how I started, it's because obviously I study communications back in Guatemala, and I had an emphasis in photography. So I had very, very little knowledge. Most of the things I learned in school was the history of the cameras, the history of photography, but very little of practice. So when I came to the States, we had this camera. It was a semi-professional camera. It didn't have a lens change or anything like that, but I had that camera, and I started taking pictures of my kids. My kids were very little, and then I suddenly started taking pictures of some of the neighbors' kids, and they were beautiful. They were beautiful kids, so the photos will come up amazing, not because the kids were beautiful, but because of the lighting and everything that I was able to apply. There was no phones back then, or at least the cameras weren't in the phones that I remember. So that camera was all I had. The very first time I charged for a quinceañera, I charged for $150.
Wow.
It was a full day, and I gave them prints, I gave them albums, I gave them so many things in that package. Those people were lucky, because now for something like that, I'll probably charge $5,000, or more. So we need to start somewhere. We need definitely to start somewhere. And some of my pictures weren't that good, but I love what I do. Another experience I have about photography is that I get called for headshots. I started doing headshots. And I remember the flashes didn't work. My flashes didn't work, so I had to use only one. That was the one that goes on top of the camera. The photos weren't good, but I was able to fix them a little bit in Photoshop. So I wasn't completely happy with the results, and it was probably something I will never put in my portfolio. But the people there were very, very happy. They called me back several times, and they remain my clients. I want to go back and redo those headshots. So I get called to do this Latina calendar. It was calendars about Latinas, beautiful, beautiful women. And one of the themes was soccer. So we went to this field, and I am not prepared. All I had was my camera. Maybe I had lights, but I needed to connect them. So it was not something I could use on a field. And so we show up to the field. It was nighttime, and everything was pitch dark. Pitch dark. And here I am with my camera. I knew very, very little about handling that type of light without the quality of the photo being horrible. And so I had an idea. Bling. My idea was that I could use the car's headlights, my car headlights, in order to be able to light up the subject. And those photos came out amazing. I think there were, at the time, because now you see the quality and it is not there, but at the time they were very pretty. I mean, they were definitely calendar worthy. But I made it work, and I'm a big problem solver. That's my superpower. The bright side. The bright side is definitely a platform where I am putting all these stories out about not only what people are now, but what they went through in order to get to where they are. So I remember everything came because of conversations that I had with some of my friends, and I'm like, why is this not in a book? Why nobody's talking about this path you have to went through? Some of them were very hard, and some of them were very inspirational at the same time. So I decided to make this platform not all about, look at me, I'm shining bright right now, but look at me, I'm shining bright, but look at everything I had to go through in order to get to where I am. So every single guest of mine has a really nice story, success story. And with success, I don't say somebody that owns a casino, or not all the time. They're business owners, or they own their life. They took charge of their life, and they wrote a different story, because at the end of the day, we are the stories we tell ourselves we are. And we cannot live in the past, but we can learn from what we go through. Well, this is about me. I wanted to make this first episode about who I am and some of my experiences from when I was very, very little to date. I really hope that my bright side inspires a lot of people. And I'll tell you what, I'm starting this project, and I want to take you in my journey of learning how to do it, because I know by heart that every single episode will be better and better and better. And I'm learning the whole everything, with system, with mics, with lighting, with knowledge and how to do this and how to present it to you guys. So it's interesting. So my message is that if you want to do something in your life, do it. You're never going to be 100% prepared. You're never going to be perfect in such perfection so it looks wonderful. We all grow, and just take a chance. See you guys in the next episode of The Bright Side. I'm Jaqueline Andrea.
Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and like us on Facebook.